Hey, how's it going, guys? Domino Paris 21 here, and back again with yet another deck profile for you all. So, of course, what I have to present to you guys is my Spike Brother deck for post Set 16 version E. Of course, in the form of Bloody Ogle. So, first things first, throughout the course of the rest of the video, I will be referring to him along with his mate, Frozen, as Ogre, not Ogle, because honestly, I don't really know why they're translated like as such, but yeah, I think Ogre is a much better name than Ogle. I think we can all agree on that. So yeah, just get that out of the way. But yeah, Bloody Ogle, or Ogre, excuse me, definitely a nice update to Spike Brothers, because I think Spike Brothers really was in need for a new ideal like boss unit outside of Emperor, because you know Emperor kind of ran its course already. So Bloody Ogre in the form of Legion definitely came in just in time for Spike Brothers, and honestly, the combination of this deck is even a lot more devastating than Spike Brothers was before, as scary as it sounds. And what I like so much more about the new support is that it's a little bit more consistent compared to, you know, how the win condition of Spike Brothers was before. So, of course, after the deck profile, I'll show you how like the main like rush combo, or crush rush as people like to call it, works. So, yeah, without further ado, let's actually get started. So, of course, for our starter, we have our Mecha Trainer, of course. Still sticking to Mecha Trainer, they did get a nice, interesting starter in the form of Cyclone Johnny, which Cyclone Johnny I think is still pretty beneficial to the deck depending on player preference, honestly. Because what I still like with Mecha Trainer, of course, it just kind of dates back to Lizard Soldier Conroe and Kagero, which you guys know how much I love Conroe. So just being able to basically toolbox into all of your grade 1s is still nice. There are still a few key grade 1s that I do kind of try to tutor into on a game-by-game status, so definitely still good to be able to have that skill as well. So yep, simple as that. Now moving on to grade 3s, of course you have your Bloody Ogre. So what I like with Bloody Ogre, obviously of course he's a Legion, so the way his Legion works is during the turn that you perform Legion, all your rear guards gain plus 5,000 when they attack, and they return to the bottom of the deck. Now, of course, combining his skill to pump your rear guards up by 5,000 with, of course, still one of the best break guards in the game, in my opinion, Baton Dragger, to give your rear guards plus 10,000 from his skill, you're giving your rear guards plus 15,000 till the end of the turn. Now granted, the 5k power boost is only until it can only last until the end of the turn that you perform Legion, but usually when you're break riding and going off with Legion, you should be set to win the game that same turn. So yeah, it's definitely a very, very powerful combination. And Bloody Ogre does have a nice secondary skill in the form of Dudley Dan, where when he attacks Vanguard, you counterblast 2, take a card from your hand, put in Soul, and Superior Call a unit from the deck. Now the secondary skill, you don't really try to use it game by game, but there are times where maybe you do go off with Bloody Ogre, even break riding, your opponent somehow survives, but then it's just nice just to help use that secondary skill to kind of get that final punch in for you. So one thing I'll tell you though is when you are going off with the big like Crush Rush combo, counterblasting is very, very hefty in this deck. Mainly because of Frozen Ogre, which you guys see how that works in a second, but ideally you want to have 4 counterblasts to really maximize the potency of your push. So, you know, counterblasting is very, very tight in this deck, so that's kind of the main reason why you use the secondary skill sparingly. So yeah, like I said, you just use this for the plus 5 ability to your rear guards. So simple as that. The next for grade 2s, you have, of course, easily one of the absolute best cards to come out in set 16, to be honest, Frozen Ogre. This card is amazing, 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 and it's really what makes this deck so powerful compared to before with this rush combo. So what he does is, while your Vanguard is in Legion, when he attacks your opponent's Vanguard, you counterblast 1, put him in the Soul, and Superior Call 1 Spike Brother from your deck. Now that does include himself, so I mean, you can pretty much already figure out how it works. You know, you just break ride Ogre over Baton Dragger. Everything is plus 15, so essentially, you know, you obviously have Legion. So you Legion with Frozen Ogre. So ideally you want to have like one Ogre, one Frozen starting off with in your hand or in your field and such, and then you usually have 2 in the deck already. So then you just swing pretty much, you know, just keep swinging, swinging, swinging. So you can swing 3 times from Frozen Ogre by themselves alone for 24,000 each time. And of course, you know, with the last, once you use the last Ogre, you can go into like your Silver Blaze, which hits for just a nice premium number, or you know, you can even call out some other key cards that can help continue the combination. But yeah, Frozen Ogre is really what makes this deck so amazing and so powerful. And what's nice with Frozen Ogre, what makes him so good, is that you can even splash him in other decks and such. If you guys actually see my Shadow Witch like Rias deck with my buddy Wes, he actually splashed these in because this card is just really amazing. So yeah, definitely got to run those. Then of course, as you guys saw earlier, you have your 3 Silver Blaze, so he's just your like Bracky on steroids. So while your Vanguard's in Legion, when he attacks, you Soul Blast 1, he gets +10, goes to the, he shuffles back in the deck. So I really like 3. Because, I don't know, I think 4 is a little bit too much just because, you know, space is a little tight for me right now in this deck, and there's other cards I kind of want to run to get some variety in the deck. But I like 3. I think 3 is like a nice number because you kind of will see Silver Blaze early enough before you actually go off with your combo, so that at least you have 1 already on the field, while the other rearguard circle is going off with Ogre. So you can usually end up with the field of like 2 the Silver Blaze, and they're both will be hitting for like 41,000. With the 7k booster, with the turn you Break Ride, Bad End Dragger, and Legion. So yeah, it's just really amazing. Just to obviously make that final push and just hit those ridiculous numbers. So just really powerful card. The next, I am still playing Dudley Mason. Just kind of at 2 for now. But Dudley Mason, you know, I'm kind of back and forth with him. I know like now he's maybe not be, a lot of players may not consider him as much of a necessity, but I still like Mason just for the fact is that, you know, still being able to kind of force cards out of your opponent's hand in situations where they would just no guard a regular rear guard attack can still be really good, because the more cards you kind of just bait out of your opponent's hand for like almost no reason, or just as an added bonus just because of how much pressure he can bring to your opponent, it's just always nice because that's just less cards your opponent has when you're about to go off with your big push. So another thing I like with Mason though, because like I said earlier with Frozen Ogre, you really want to have 1 starting off. You don't want to have to be forced to use a Bloody Ogre secondary skill to fish 1, because that just uses way too much counter blast. So usually a lot of times if I open Mason turn 2, I'll like search out a Frozen Ogre and kind of leave him on my rearguard circle in the back so he can't get attacked. Do keep in mind though, I only do that if I know I'm facing a deck that can't snipe rearguards. You know, like obviously I won't do it against like Kagero or Brawlers and such. But yeah, still very useful skill, and like I said, just brings added pressure to your opponent. The next, I am running 2 Zachary's. I really like Zachary a lot in the deck because it's kind of for the same reasons that I like Dudley Mason. Just adds extra pressure to my opponent, just because they don't like seeing me to draw cards, which is nice. And also combining Zachary with Machine Gun Gloria, which is a grade 1 I do play in the deck, it could potentially lead to a +2 since both their skill stack, but I'll get to a little bit more of Gloria once I get to my grade 1s, but that's kind of the main reason why I do play the Zacharys in here. Then last but not least, I am playing Jumbo the Stun Gun. Stun Gun is essential in this deck. I may actually bump him up to 2, just because I really don't want to damage check him, have him stuck there, because I actually had 1 game where that happened. It's actually one of my recorded games I did against Tetraburst, if you guys saw that already. But Stun Gun is when he's called from the deck, Soul Charge 1, you unflip. So basically, if you have 4 Counterblast, you obviously, like I said, like explained with Frozen Ogre, you just go Ogre, 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 and usually you call Stun Gun after you're done, because I already used up 3 Counterblast, but then it allows you to unflip. So then, like I said, if you start with 4 Counterblast, you'll end up ending up with 2 Counterblast by the time you use the Stun Gun. So then, once you're ready to attack with your Bloody Ogre, it allows you to free up space in your Counterblast to use the secondary skill to kind of get that extra attack in. So it's pretty nice, and so he's pretty much like the final piece to going for that big combo push. So he's very important in the deck and is a must to play at least 1. Next up for grade 1s, you just have your 4 perfect guards, no quintets because it's really not necessary because you're going to be going off like much later in the game anyway. And like I said, counterblasting is just very tight in this deck. Next I run 3 Reckless Express. Reckless Express, obviously your classic 12k attacker for Soul Blast 1 when he attacks, and shuffles back in the deck. You know, honestly, I was gonna play 4th, but I just didn't have one. But honestly, you can live with 3 in the deck just because Mecha Training can search it, and you know he's kind of like one of your backups for beaters. So he's really not like a go-to card as he used to be before, but he's still very necessary to play in the deck regardless. So run 3 of him, and then next I'm running possibly my favorite grade. Possibly my favorite grade 1 in the deck in the form of Machine Gun Gloria. What she does is at the end of the battle that she boosts a grade 1 or greater rear guard. You counterblast 1, draw a card, and then put the unit bottom of the deck. So it's nice, like I said, to combo with Zachary, like I explained earlier. It's nice, like if you, let's see, boost with the Reckless Express, because Reckless Express shuffles back in the deck anyway, so you kind of like break even from that instead of minusing. And you know, there's definitely some situations where, you know, she can be very useful. Like maybe I don't need to Mecha Trainer, so I'll move that Mecha Trainer to the side and kind of boost it with Gloria. And then I can just put the Mecha Trainer away. So I'm using a Counterblast the same way, but I'm just drawing a card instead because I didn't need to search. But the thing with Gloria is it's not really a card that I play in this deck to really abuse, because like I said, Counterblasting is way too precious in this deck, but it's still nice just to have that option. To be able to, maybe if I have any spare Counterblast, it's nice to have that option just to, you know, being able to draw cards. And like I said, it's really meant to be a nice pressure column with Zachary. So I force out a lot of cards from my opponent's hand in the early game just because they're so scared of this column hitting. So that's another thing I like. And I don't play Wonder Boys in the deck just because I don't see the point of running 8Ks in the deck anymore. Just because there's really nothing key numbers you're really hitting for outside of 21k in the center with Bat and Dragger. So alright, and the last of my grade 1s, I am running the 2 Gary Gannons. So still love Gary Gannon even more in the deck actually this time around, just because obviously this is a Legion deck where your drop zone can actually matter. So being able to basically control your drop zone is pretty nice, but especially to cycle through cards that that probably clogs your hand that you preferably want in the drop zone, so you can shuffle back in the deck to go with your combos. Preferably, obviously, you know, any spare Frozen Ogres you may have that you obviously want in the deck. Same thing goes for Stun Gun. So these kind of like the key important cards you want to make sure are in your deck, or at least in your drop zone when you're about to go off with your Legions, to make sure you get the effective combo off. So simple as that. And obviously, of course, with the introduction of a new draw trigger in this deck, it gives you even more options to, you know, cycle through your hand and such. So definitely, I'd say this is a must play in the deck, especially if you're playing Mecha Trainer. He's usually my go-to as always for him. And last but not least, for my triggers, I'm still running the Silence Joker, and I am running 6 crit, 6 draw. And yes, I know I should have a playset of Pauline, but I don't know where I put them, my spares, so, you know, forgive me, guys. Then 4 heals. And no, I am not playing the Cheer Girl Adelaide or whatever, because it's a hideous trigger and such. Because honestly, come on guys, like Bushro made this as a joke. Like, who wants to play this ratchet heal when you still have, you know, Cheer Girl TR cheering you on? So yeah, let's not do that. So yeah, I'm still running 6 crit 6 draw. I know like 8 draw may be optimal to a lot of players, and that was my initial intent. But I don't know, I still like the few extra crits in the deck, because you know, as powerful as this deck is, you know, getting critted by Spike Brothers is so devastating for your opponent, just because, you know, like you see here, for how powerful this deck is, you know, having your opponent eat crits to take some extra damage can be so critical for them. Also, the fact is too, it can also compensate in the fact is, like, if you don't get your break right off, but you're just stuck on a Bloody Ogre first. You know, Bloody Ogre, I still think that he's still solid without the break ride. So I don't know, like, I still like I said, I still like that extra crit. Just being able to get extra damage in for free is still nice and very devastating. So and like I said, you know, in case you can't get your break right off, it kind of compensates for that too at the same time. And you know, Bloody Ogre is still pretty good standalone without the break ride. So I still like the 6/6. So simple as that. And yeah, yeah guys, so other than that, that should be just about it. As always guys, feel free to leave a comment down below with any questions, concerns, and such that you may have. And as always guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. See ya.